Welcome to A Pod of Wings and Filth, where two voracious fantasy readers dive into the magical, gritty, and sometimes downright filthy world of fantasy.
On this podcast, we chat about our favorite fantasy books, from dragons and magic to the dark and twisted corners of fantastical realms.
I'm Heather, and I require a little bit of plot with my smut.
And I'm Morgan, and Fae courts are just high school cliques with pointy ears.
We've got a lot of opinions, a lot of passion, and even more books to talk about. So grab your favorite brew, maybe a magical artifact or two, and join us as we get into all things magic, wings, and a little bit of filth.
Content warning: expect spice, swearing, spoilers, and strong opinions on dubious character choices. This is an adult show meant to discuss adult things, unfiltered, for an adult audience. Today's episode will contain spoilers for all of Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. So if you're not ready for unhinged fandom energy, turn back now. Otherwise, spread your wings, grow your horns, and let's get filthy.
Hi, Morgan!
Hi, Heather. How are you?
I am so excited. We are here for our first buddy read.
I am so excited to talk about this book. For everyone listening, I have read this book before. This is Heather's first time reading this book, and I'm so excited to talk about it and see how you liked it. I got to read, obviously, your buddy reads, but oh man, it's so good.
Oh, this is the second buddy read that Morgan and I have done together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what the other book was that we did.
We did Mistborn.
Oh, we did Mistborn. That was right. We needed each other. We needed Brandon Sanderson support. So we had to get through that together, which it was good. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But we both had like so much resistance to start that series. And we haven't read the sequel yet either. So, but as we did it, we realized, hey, this will be a really, really great thing to do on the podcast. It's a way for readers to interact with us and have our live action reactions to it, which I was quite a bit behind Morgan when I started, and I was loving reading all of her responses as I was adding mine in. It was so much fun. So I hope if you guys decide to, you will enjoy that as well. You don't have to be a part of the live action while we're doing it in order to go back. Our responses will be there. There are lock screens that show you at whatever percentage you're at in the story that you will not be able to read those reactions, so you will not get spoilers on it, which is the thing I think is so incredibly cool about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. You choose, even if you're reading two different editions or two different versions, it'll give you the percentage of how far along that person is in the book, and you get to choose to reveal the next comment, or it will block you off entirely of like, you are not to this part yet. You cannot read this comment. It will be spoiled.
And if you love spoilers, you can just lie and say you finished the book and read all of the comments, which is totally something I would do.
That is some absolute gremlin energy.
Yes. And I would not do it about a book that I was really, really excited to read and didn't want to be spoiled. But if I felt halvesies about going into a book, I would probably read all the responses. I probably would.
Okay. Heather wrote us a little summary of this book to get us started. So take us away.
In Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, we follow the delightfully prickly and brilliant professor, Emily Wilde, a scholar of the Fae who would much rather be buried in her research than engage in the pesky business of human interaction. Me too. When she finds journeys to the wintry village of Heavenschnick. Now, to be clear, I listened to the audio of this and I still can't get it right.
I think
I'm not even close.
Kravsnvik.
Right. Okay, there we go. Let's move on. Okay, this will continue as we go on with our podcast of mispronunciating things because we read fantasy books and it's going to be bad.
And they're all made up.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So Havenschnick to study an elusive type of fairy. She finds herself entangled not only in local mysteries, but in the charming chaos brought to her by the insufferably dashing academic rival, Wendell Bamblebee. Between encounters with mischievous woodland tricksters ancient courtly creatures and the ever-growing tangle of her own feelings, Emily learns that perhaps even the most solitary of hearts can be thawed by a little enchantment and a dash of romantic mischief. It's a tale as cosily and sparkling as frost on a fairy's wing. Okay, so whimsy is the best way for me to describe this.
Whimsy. It's so whimsical. I love this story. I read it for the first time, I think sometime last year or maybe the year before. I have also now read all 3 of the trilogy. And it is just the most whimsical, cozy, wonderful story. Like, I've never done cozy fantasy before. This is probably what I would consider my first venture into that. And I am hooked. It's adorable.
Oh, I wouldn't call Harry Potter cozy whimsy, but there are certain elements of the Harry Potter world the whole time I was listening to this where I was going, oh, this is so much, particularly,
Really?
and the way I would find it comparable is the moments of danger.
Oh.
Danger, whenever there's danger in this book, you feel the sense of peril, but you're still in kind of a fun world.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this like dichotomy of you should be kind of like enjoying this, but you're also still fearful for the characters. And I experienced that in Harry Potter. So that was the first thing that popped into my mind. I love that.
I could see that. I also kind of thought there's a type of fairy, and I'm not even going to remotely try and pronounce it, but we find out that one of our main characters is part this fairy.
Yes.
Part Wendell is part, I mean, we're doing spoilers for the whole book. So Wendell is a courtly fae, we find out, and also he's part this other more common type of fairy that I will not be pronouncing. And they're basically house elves.
So I've been doing audiobooks for the last 4 or 5 months, and I had never done audiobooks before. And I'm experimenting. Some are working for me and some are not. And I'm finding some genres are great and some are not so much. Like I really enjoy contemporary romance. I like doing biographies and autobiographies. Those are great. Anything that's kind of light and fun. Like I did Lights Out and I did Butcher and Blackbird. That was so much fun. Both of those were so much fun.
I love how you're like light and fun, and then you describe 2 of the darkest romances on the fucking market right now.
But they are, if you like serial killers and you want them to get married and hooked up and have happy endings, but they are so much fun. They are hilarious too. And it is dark comedy. I do not know who I'd recommend them to. I don't even know if you would like them, Morgan, but they are so much fun. So those I found that I can listen to while I work and I can just eat them up and absorb them. Or with fantasy, as long as it has been something that I've read before.
Yeah, me too.
I can absorb it all. This is the first one I've done that was fantasy, but I had not read the book and I was not reading the book while I was listening. And I don't think I'll do it again. Or maybe I'll try it one more time. It was really hard.
I bet. I was telling you before we recorded, I also listened to the audiobook while I was just trying to get it done. So I was ready for the buddy read and stuff. And I think I only was able to do it because I've read it before. And so it's not that I was tuning out, but it was easier for me to just recall information I already had and familiarize myself with it. But I don't think I could have done it from scratch. So I hear you. I'm not surprised to hear you say that.
And it's nothing about the narrators either. They were wonderful. In fact, they're so adorable. In fact, I can't remember her name at the exact moment. So forgive me, but Morgan's going to look her up for me. Thank you, Morgan. She reminded me of Julie Andrews immediately. I got total Mary Poppins vibes, which also whimsical fantasy and comforting coziness. Mary Poppins is one of my favorite from my childhood. I watched that movie on repeat over and over again. Adore it. So I get these beautiful Julie Andrews vibes from Emily and the narration. And I'm into it right away, but I really lost a lot. I think I lost a lot of the details. I mixed up characters because of that. I think I have a pretty good grasp on it. Like I didn't miss any of like the big story or the experiences or anything, but I definitely lost a lot of the details. Yeah. So I'm probably going to get things wrong. I'm going to need Morgan to help me through it. But even with that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I finished it last night at some point. And then because I didn't feel like I got a full grasp on the ending, I listened to the last hour of it again on my run this morning. It was like, I can think about dying, or I can listen to them go through peril.
Maybe that's a hack.
Yeah. So
when you really need to focus on it, you need to do it during a run. Anyways, the two narrators, so the main female narrator is Elle Potter, who does such a lovely job. She's so wonderful. And then the brief male narration we get is Michael Dodds.
And he was adorable.
He was adorable. His Irish accent with Wendell is just perfection. Truly adorable. Okay, what was your favorite trope from this book? I'm curious.
Okay. So I don't usually like grumpy sunshine. I don't like academic rivals. I love found family. Of course, and there was that in here. So you would think that would be my favorite, but I actually really enjoyed the grumpy sunshine. I really did.
Because she's the grumpy. That's my argument, is that when he's the grumpy, it's just another grumpy man. Like, I don't need any more grumpy men in my life. But with it being her being the grumpy and him the sunshine, it flips that trope on its head in such a beautiful way that you are drawn to her, even though she's grumpy. This is written as if it's basically her diary, her academic journal, noting all of her adventures. And so it's like fully first person. And so you get the grumpy, like internal from the grumpy. And I just think it's delightful. And he is the most delightful sunshine character I've ever read ever.
Oh,
because he's also very snarky.
I think you're 100% right about it being from her perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And she is, in spite of her grumpiness, quite charming. And I think that's why everyone takes to her, because, and I so fully appreciate her pragmatism. I probably, if you are in the buddy read notes, I probably mention it like 4 or 5 times, her rationalization of things and her pragmatism. But I relate to that so thoroughly too. I'm like, well, she's making total sense here. She can worry about her emotional reaction later. Right now, she has a thing to deal with. Let her deal with the thing.
I love it so much, though. Like, she's so pragmatic. I wrote in the buddy read a couple times, she's very people clumsy. I think you
love that.
I think you are supposed to be led to believe that she's likely autistic of some flavor.
Neurodivergent for sure.
Absolutely. And she's really, she's truly so academic. She's focused on her research and what she knows. And she has this vast birth of knowledge. Like, she's so smart, but also at the same time, she's such an idiot. Like, she fumbles her way through social interactions in the best ways. I kind of love that she puts her foot in her mouth with the townspeople. She's there to do research. She's there to learn more about the Fae, but she also needs to hear the stories from the town people. And it's like entirely based on something she totally should know from all of her research, and she totally fucks it up, and Wendell has to come and fix it. And it's basically because she refuses to let them pay for it, like treat her like a guest. And they kind of are like, all right, if you don't want to be a guest, like, we will treat you like a tourist, basically.
And that's not so fun.
No. And so she ends up like burning through a bunch of her money because they charge her tourist rates for stuff for like,
which I fully appreciate, by the way. It's also clever, the humor and in the interactions with everybody. It really, really is highbrow. There's so much going on, which is why it was really difficult to absorb all.
Oh, I bet, through an audiobook. Mm-hmm. I also think there's something really adorable, and I imagine, I don't think the chapters I listened to had any of these, but throughout the entire book there are footnotes where she adds where she's basically citing her own diary. She's like referencing different research studies by different researchers. The researchers who research fairies, say that 10 times fast, Jesus, are dryadologists.
Yes.
And so she's citing these other ones in her own diary. And I just imagine that reading this through audiobook, you just don't get the same flavor as getting these actual little footnotes at the bottom. It's just a whole experience that I think might be a little different when you listen to it.
I did. What I did like was, because she's narrating it, the way that she's reflecting her own behavior. So that's something that I don't think that you're maybe going to get as profoundly whilst reading it yourself in your own head, because she has such levity to it, and she almost is surprised by her own words sometimes, it felt like. And I was giggling a lot.
Silly.
It is. I think that's why this is great comfort food.
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of like available to just about anybody to read too.
Oh,
there are like dark sides of the story, which were surprising, but it didn't feel like it was really scary.
No.
It didn't feel actually scary at all.
Even the scary parts later, because, and I think you wrote this in one of the comments in the buddy read, because you get it from her pragmatic first-person view, you are viewing the scary things happening very rationally.
Yes!
Like, this monster has come to kill me. There's a scene towards the end with the boggles that are described as these horrifying creatures. They're terrifying. And she's like, oh, and I know that with boggles, you must hold, like, she talks about holding on to the little coin in her pocket that helps with the fae. And, like, there's all these things that she just, like, burp, 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 like, busts through the list of, like, all the things she should do that she knows from her knowledge. And it helps diffuse some of the fear.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Like, some stuff happens, like her finger. Axes and limbs in this book are problematic, but I don't need to go through all that emotional roller coaster. You don't need to put me through it. If I'm reading something like this, yeah, give me the pragmatic, give me the practical person. It's like Violet and Fourth Wing, when she's going through all of her academic stuff in her mind, to sit there and calm herself down so she can focus and she can be in a place where she can rationally look at the situation so she doesn't emotionally react. Well, Emily is that times like 10.
Yeah, truly.
But I love it. I love it. It feels really, really good to have a character that's, even though she's blocking her emotional reactions to everything, which not what we want long term. But as a reader, it's like, oh, thank you for just using your brain here. I'm so relieved. Like, in all the moments of peril, that was how I felt. I'm like, okay, it's going to be fine, because she's going to figure out a way out of this, because she's smart and she's calm in this situation. She's not overreacting, so I'm not overreacting. That was my experience.
Who was your favorite side character?
I really love Poe. I really love Poe. He reminds me of a character. If anybody has played Witcher 3, he reminds me of the little godling in it. He's this ugly, kind of fearful looking little child, but so sweet and adorable and lovely, and I love him.
I want a terrifying little woodland creature to make me loaves of bread.
Me too. Please. You can come live in my house. I'm absolutely fine with it. Who's your favorite side character?
Oh, it's got to be Shadow.
Oh, yes, Shadow. Of course, yeah. Shadow.
So Shadow is her dog, and he is just this, like, lumbering beast. And you get an idea, even me, Passenger Princess reader over here, but definitely more in the second read than the first, I will admit out loud. You get a bunch of comments from the village people at the top, like, wow, that's a magnificent beast. What a beautiful dog. Like, you get all of these comments that, like, maybe Shadow is more than just a dog. But what he looks like to everyone is just like this big, giant, beautiful dog. And I just love the nonverbal communication she has with Shadow, knowing that when he gives her certain looks, or when he gives her certain cues, or when he makes certain grunts or sounds, like, she knows exactly what he's saying to her, and vice versa. Like, she communicates with him as if he is right there in her mind, the way that we all are. It's so heartwarming. I love it.
It's one of my favorite things in any story ever, when you bring an animal or a creature in. And as you pointed out, the nonverbal communication. Like, it's really cool when you can share whatever with animals or creatures or dragons, and they can talk to you, and you have the consciousness to exchange actual verbalization and those things. That's really great. But I kind of like these more in a different way. It almost feels more intimate. And I think we can all relate to it, because those of us that have pets and have bonded with them, we have our own language with our animals.
Absolutely.
Mard knows what I'm saying. Mard speaks me, and I speak Mard. It's like your siblings that you've grown up with. You have your own kind of language with them.
Oh, yeah.
That only you in the fam understand. And it's
Ellie
the same
is a person in a tiny dog.
Oh, yes. 100%.
The same way that Sadie is a grumpy old lady in a tiny cat.
Oh, she is. She is. She was born a grumpy old lady.
She really was.
She was absolutely born a grumpy old lady, and I love that about her.
As someone who has had her since she was a kitten, she was born a grumpy old lady. She has always, my cat is just, for those who don't know, she's 14, she's still trucking along, and like, oh man, is that cat a bitch. But
she's full cat. She's full cat.
She's full cat, but she loves her people. She loves me, and she loves Patrick, and begrudgingly, she has learned to love her sister Ellie, and that is it.
Cats understand better than anyone, I think, boundaries.
Speaking of cats, you left a comment in the buddy read about one of the stories that she tells. What is the...
I love that you're looking it up because I have no idea what I said.
It is one of the interludes, basically, that Emily puts in where she inserts one of the Fae stories. And it is this whole story about how this man has all of this misfortune and he thinks that the cat is causing the misfortune. But actually the misfortune is coming because he's not listening to the cat, but the cat is a Fae and the cat is trying to protect him from a lover that has actually tried to steal all of his money and all of these things. And he's like, but the cat chased my lover away and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you wrote in there, always trust a cat, even a vicious one. If they have chosen you, there's a reason.
My cat hates my mother. He's brilliant. He knows. She's wrong. He knows. He's hissed at her for years when she'd walk in the door. And a senior citizen, he is 15 and he's trucking along, but he wasn't smart to start with. So we are having lots of senior moments with my kitty.
I think the pets in this story and the animals in this story are some of the cutest parts of the story. I think they add to the whimsy. And yeah, Shadow is just a big part of that to me. There are a few times where he growls at someone and you're like, oh, immediately my hackles are raised. Shadow wouldn't get up from his lovely nest of blankets if he didn't need to, and he needed to, and he growled at that person. Listen to him. And I think one of the things I love the most is that Emily does. She does listen to him.
She does. Mm-hmm. Which is another thing I enjoy about her. And when we were just talking about this with another story, but having smart, intelligent, and adaptable female main characters is such a breath of fresh air. Truly. And also, she's not 22.
No, she's in her 30s, I think.
Yeah, she's in her 30s, which, oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't think I caught that until the second reread. I just don't think, when I read it the first time, I don't think she had an age in my mind. I was like, I don't know how old she is. And you
could kind of put any age. I wouldn't put her as someone extremely young. I wouldn't put her as like a 22-year-old. But she could be anywhere in her late 20s to 40 years old. And it would be fine.
I would agree with that.
And I like that.
Me too. I think it adds a flexibility to the story that wouldn't necessarily be there otherwise. And yeah, she's just lovely. Although now that I'm realizing it, she couldn't have been younger, I don't think, because she does have many, many, many years of higher education under her belt.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. But you do kind of get the impression that she has foregone a few normal, I'll put them in air quotes, normal life events. She's like dated one singular man. Yes. In her entire life. And she liked him because he would say out loud what he was going to do.
I know. Which, Emily,
I don't want to be here anymore.
You need a longer list. You need a longer list, but I understand that being on your list.
It was really funny. It was really, really funny.
Oh, and that's the romance of this. It's not like overwhelming. It's everything else. It's not wishy-washy. It's cutesy. It's fun. It's funny most of the time. Like even at some of the moments at the end there, I'm going
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm chuckling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so Heather Fawcett just does a really lovely time writing whimsical romance that it feels like, I think you said it earlier, like it's just low stakes. Like even if they don't work out, even if they do work out, you're like, okay, I'm along for the ride. I'm here.
Yes. Okay. So Morgan, my beautiful passenger princess. These are the stories that I am okay being a passenger princess on.
Yeah.
Yeah. She calls these palette cleansers too.
Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for when I read these. When I read my Elsie Silver books,
Mhm.
I need something where the stakes are pretty low and I don't have to worry about going through an emotional gauntlet. I am not a person who just can read horrible things happening to people that I'm emotionally invested in and just walk away. No, I walk around all day with butterflies in my stomach going, wait, can I get back to the story? I have to know what happens. My poor characters are in turmoil.
I want to kick my feet up in the air and giggle.
Yes. And that's exactly the experience you will have in this.
Yeah.
It's delightful. We all need that. And I highly recommend reading it just for that reason alone. And two, I love the imagery.
Yeah.
I love the imagery. I know we talk sometimes about how authors will linger too long on describing smells and books. And did I say books? You could never take too long describing
books.
Yeah. Woods, trees, things, soup, whatever it may be. This has, I think, the perfect balance because you are getting these cozy visuals and smells and sensory. And I feel like she really, really delves into the five senses.
Yeah,
often.
she does. As she does it in such an academic way, right? Because Emily is logging it for her journal and for her research, but she doesn't skimp on it because of that. Like I think it's such an interesting thing about it being sort of a more science forward story about magic and fairies, right? They're so in contrast to each other that actually mixing the two makes it this really delightful mishmash of like vivid imagery. Truly, like I know exactly what it felt like to walk into that forest, and I know exactly what Poe's tree looks like, which is why I was devastated when it got burned. Fucking jerks. And also, Wendell fixed it. It's fine.
Wendell fixes everything.
Wendell fixes everything.
He just shows up and is like, I'll fix it. It's fine. And he's so lackadaisical about things. He's like, okay, we talk about golden retrievers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
absolutely.
Here's your poster child for golden retriever men.
Not only is he an actual golden retriever in personality, in style, in all of the things, her main fixation with him, the thing that actually draws her to him, is his hair. And I was like, this is golden retriever because he literally has long, luscious golden retriever hair.
Which she even mentions that she surprisingly misses at one point.
And she's like, I wonder why. I don't know.
I love how unaware she is of her own emotions, and yet at the same time is kind of aware of them. The dichotomy is delightful. And then normally with a character like that, I'd be annoyed too. I'd be like, can you please get it together? But her, I'm just like, silly girl. You'll get there.
Silly girl. Poor sweet summer child. I feel like she's aware enough of them to note them, right, in her book, in her research, but she's not aware enough to like actually internalize them and feel them. It's really cute. It's really fucking cute.
And I feel like pretty much all of the characters in this are neurodivergent of some kind.
Oh,
like,
yeah, in some way.
Every single one. So if you're a neurodivergent person, you'll see yourself on the page, and it'll feel cozy.
I think that's the other piece, is that like this is beautiful, vast representation for a lot of different people and experiences. Like there's really beautiful queer representation in here. I fucking love that the one woman in town that has spurned Wendell is the fucking lesbian. Like, yes, that shit sent me. The way I was laughing at that, I was like, that's fucking great. But yeah, there's just like, there are very few people I feel like are not communicated about or represented in some way, in a way that's just as comfortable and cozy and meandering as any of the other stuff.
Yeah. I can't say I'm not a giggler anymore. I think I am a giggler. I just have finally found the content that makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Just
Yeah.
like, I'm not really romantic. No, I am. I have that in me. I just hadn't found the content that what worked for me. Now I
Exactly.
know. I need adventure and high stakes and darkness and and swords and fighting usually.
And occasionally magical researchers.
Absolutely magical researchers.
I am curious if you have a favorite Wendell moment, because he is a unique MMC in this way, I think.
He is. I think my favorite part is when he and Shadow are enchanted as tailors.
Oh yeah.
Later. And then she actually figures out who he is.
Yes.
I love that so much. It's one of my favorite parts in the whole entire thing anyway. But I think that's my favorite Wendell. And he is so not happy about it. He's like, well, I had to do this. I wanted my own body back. And
it's the only time we see him grumpy.
Yes.
Which actually is really cute. So this is the second of the two big, I would say, like adventure arcs of the book, right? The first one is they're going into Faerie to save two of the townspeople who become their best friends, which I fucking love. Lilia and Margaret are adorable. And then the second one is that Emily gets taken into Faerie by the evil Winter Court Fae. And the evil but not evil king, which also is a hilarious contrast that he's like,
I know,
better.
He's funny. And he was like not good, but he's funny. And
the way she did his voice was just fucking hilarious to me, because it's just like burr, 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 burr. I was like, what is he, Beaker? Like, what is this? But yeah, Wendell and Shadow get Wendell transforms them so that they can secretly come in and tailor her wedding dress to the king. And he's so grumpy about the fact that he looks so plain. And that was one of the ways she knew it was him. Oh, and she writes, this was one of my favorite quotes. I know I wrote it in the buddy read because I was fucking screaming, laughing. You blend into the background. I could almost forget about you entirely. It's refreshing.
Yes.
Like, they're just so fucking snarky with each other in the best way. And that's where the academic rival energy comes in, where they're just so snarky with each other in these just like one-liners. I'm like, that shit is brutal and so fucking hilarious.
That is my favorite part of their banter too, is when it's all the academic stuff, because they are competitive with each other. And I appreciate that. But I love how Wendell will come in and just kind of, and in most circumstances, I do not enjoy this, but the way he does it is funny because he seems so unaware of it. Is he comes in, he'll just mow over something she's doing, like, well, we're going to change this and I'm going to help you and I am going to make notes in your stuff. And she is just abhorred.
Right.
Like, you've touched my notes, not to mention the part where he actually leaves an entry in her journal, which, listening to the audio, I had no bloody idea this was going to happen. I'm just tra-la-lying around. I think I'm making dinner or something, or cleaning, or I'm working, and then all of a sudden I hear Wendell's voice come through, and I'm like, what? What is happening? I didn't know this was coming. And then I proceeded to giggle for 10 minutes.
It is so good. The male narrator that does his chapter from Wendell's POV, because Wendell is Irish, whereas Emily is British. And I just fucking love their accents. They do such a good job of it. But Wendell's Irish chapter is just so, he talks about like, I know you're going to hate this, but I also know you would hate it if this part of the story wasn't documented properly. And so I am choosing for you to be mad at me either way. And I'm just fucking cackling like, yep, she's gonna fucking hate it. There's no winning here. Nope. And that's because you really see her for who she is and understand that there was no winning this moment.
When you were reading it the first time, did it catch you off guard, or do you think it would have been more enjoyable to catch the audio?
Probably more enjoyable for the audio, but I do remember catching it when I was reading it and being like, ooh, she gonna be big mad. She gonna be so mad at you. You touched her research. Ooh.
In fairness, I would too.
Yeah. Someone who's so particular going in and being like, I touched your stuff.
Oh, I'm with Emily on that one. I'm a little crazy about that. If somebody came in my office and started moving my stuff around or even reorganized my books in a way that was great, I would still be angry about it.
You touch my
Don't
shit.
touch my... Don't! I have a way of doing things and they're mine. Leave them alone.
Makes sense in my brain, okay?
That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Unless it's shared space and shared things. If it's not, then you should do things the way that you want to. And her journals, her space and her things.
That being said, this is another hot take of mine, so maybe I should save it. But we'll see. People who organize their bookshelves by rainbow.
Oh.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
Oh,
what
I'm
are you
with
doing?
on that one.
What are you doing?
You can't do that. You can't do that. You've ruined everything.
How do you find anything?
Yeah. Like
I don't know what color the back of that book is. I know what it feels like in my hand and where it goes with the other ones. I know what genre it goes with. I know what category it goes with. Get out of here with this rainbow bookshelf bullshit.
It hurts me just to think about it. Like literally my brain is short-circuiting right now. If I see a Bookstagram girl who has that in her background, I will scroll and I will not listen to her video because she can't be trusted. I don't like the idea of putting everything in alphabetical order, but at least that makes sense.
Oh, sure.
Put series together. I also constantly rearrange things.
You do. You rearrange your bookshelves more frequently than anyone I know.
I know. I don't know. It makes me feel good.
It's great.
I just move them around. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? It'll look better if we put it here. Or, hey, how about these two hang out together for a while? I think Throne of Glass and all of my Carissa Broadbents belong together. Let's do that. Yeah. Or, hey, you know what? All my science fiction should go together this month. Next month, they don't want to be together anymore. They started fighting, as they would in a science fiction world, because inevitably humanity is going to destroy itself and start fighting amongst themselves. So I'm just being realistic here. See, I overthink things.
You do. Okay.
I love Emily.
If this book was a cozy drink, what drink would you pick?
Peppermint hot cocoa. That's what I indulge myself in. I no longer drink coffee. I miss it. So I can't have my fun coffees. I don't have my espressos anymore. My head does not like them. So I have my warm, yummy peppermint hot cocoa in the winter.
Picture. So there's a scene where she, next to Poe's tree, there's the little like hot spring, the little warm spring, which is the only place she can figure out where to bathe because she can't figure out how to fucking heat the water in her cottage, which is just too fucking funny. But I can picture sitting with my feet in that hot spring and eating the bread that Poe made and drinking a peppermint hot cocoa. I feel like that is perfect.
Perfect. Yes, warm bread. Oh, warm bread. What would you drink?
I am a tea drinker in the wintertime, especially in all of my sessions. So I could go for like a really beautiful lemon honey tea situation. That
would be nice. And that would also go good with the bread and the feet in the hot spring. which I want to do now, but I don't really want to go to that cold place. No. We've just got out of about 6 months of winter here. Mm-hmm. I don't want the cold. Although I do enjoy reading books like this in the middle of a really hot summer day.
Do you really? That's funny.
Yeah. And I will tell you why. Because it's so hot in my brain,
it cools you down.
I know this sounds crazy, but seriously, listen, I use mind control, Debo. Also, I did not want to read this while we were camping last weekend because it was so bloody cold. And we were in a camper on a beach and the average temperature was about 40 degrees and we had crazy winds and storms for the first couple days. So I was like, you know what? I am chilled to the bone regularly. I don't need to feel any colder. So I waited.
That's really funny to me. It makes me think of when you and I read Ledge for the first time by Stacey McEwen.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, you cannot read this in the wintertime because you're just it's too
cold.
But it's perfect to read in the summertime. And also it's a little like jarring to read in the summertime, but in a good way.
Yes.
Funny.
I totally understand if people feel like you want to read the cold in the winter, but particularly at the end of winter, if you are a Midwestern person, you are done. We are done. We are done, and winter is never done with us. So it's the end of April here when we're recording this, and we could still have a potential snow day.
Fingers fucking no, knock on wood. Oh my God.
No, I'm saying it so it won't happen, Morgan. If I say it won't, then it will.
I hope so.
Yes,
indeed. I don't want any more snow.
No.
I will say, however, reading this series, so I've read all 3. So you have Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. You then have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. And the third one...
And they really are beautiful. She was just showing me all the covers before we recorded.
Yeah, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. I've been trying to pin it ever since I read it for the first time, but there's a creator who I follow on TikTok, but I think she also does stuff on Instagram. Her name is Cecilia, and she lives on Svalbard, which is an actual real-life island very, very far north of Norway, basically almost to the North Pole. She calls it, I'm Cecilia, I live on an island close to the North, Svalbard, an island close to the North Pole, with her cute, adorable little Finnish laphound, Grim, who's adorable. And she's always talking about polar night and polar day and how they get like 24 hours of sunshine or 24 hours of night. And I realized that Ljusland, which is the island that in Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, reminds me of that.
Yes.
And I was like, that is a real place.
Would you be able to live in one of them? Because Emily wants to get out by the end. She's had enough of the cold.
I don't think I could live there for very long, but I would go on a vacation.
That's a good answer.
I can do short-term living off the grid, stuff like I can tolerate it for a brief period of time. I do hate camping. They are different. I want to be clear.
She's right.
Heather and I are different in this way. I don't mind camping with campers. I do not camp in a tent. That's a no-go. I don't sleep on the ground. Ever since I became an adult, it's no longer fun to sleep on the ground.
It's not fun anymore.
It's not fun anymore. They were maybe fun at one time, but you just will not pay me to do that anymore. But I could do a cute little cabin off grid in the wilderness, boiling water and stuff. Like, that'd be cute. I could handle that. As long as I brought enough stuff with me to make it a little more tolerable, I could do that.
I feel the same way for the most part about that kind of thing. I admit I am much more about roughing it than Morgan is. Yes. I am much more comfortable in doing so, but I don't enjoy being cold.
No.
I am okay being somewhere that is cold so long as I can warm up.
Oh, that's fair. That makes sense.
If I can't get warm, then I'm miserable the whole time. Yeah. If I can get warm and I have somewhere that I can warm up, then I will go spend all day out in the cold. But I need to go get really warm afterwards with all my blankets in my cozy office here and put my feet in my foot warmer. So while Emily is describing all of this, I am feeling all of that cold.
That's true. We were just talking about how vividly she writes. And so that is a part of it too, of like, with that vivid imagery also comes like an internal experience of it. And so you're like, well, maybe only so much until I can get warm again. Which is why it's funny at the very beginning when she gets to the cottage and she doesn't know how to make a fire for herself at all. And you're like, girl, we need better survival skills, because apparently this is a thing you do all the time on purpose, is you go to these remote locations to find the fairies. And also, just a hilarious, she's like, and I might die here. Like, she's like, I can't make a fire and I would rather die than go ask someone for help. That was fucking relatable.
Moments with her where she does not want to ask for help and she's too stubborn. I'm like, oh God, I see myself here so much.
Oh, what the fuck? God damn.
Why can't we do that? Yep. Ask for help. And then when the person actually comes to help, and Wendell does this throughout the whole series, well, she won't help herself, so I'm going to help her. And he does so abrasively, but that is the only way you're going to get to with someone like her. And I know because I'm the same way. And then I'm going to make you pay for it, even though you've helped me. And that's what you should have done in the first place. I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. It's me. Hi.
Yes. Thank you, Taylor. And thank you, Emily.
Exactly. Okay. We also wanted to read in our buddy reads, we wanted to read the funniest 1-star review and 5-star reviews we could find. Do you want to read the 1-star or the 5? Because they're both hilarious.
I'm here already, so I'll do the 1-star.
Good reads.
Yes, Morgan put these together. They're fantastic. I was going to go on a hunt, and she had already done it. I'm like, nope, I don't think I can do better than this. This is the 1-star, and this is from Madison with 2 Ds. I don't understand how a book that sounded so good could be so flipping boring. Infinite amounts of stars taken away for the fact that she ends up with its implied ends up with that mansplaining boob. The mansplaining boob. Not a damn one of his qualities can be considered charming. Girl just wanted to be left alone and do her gosh darn research, and this entire book is spent convincing her that being alone or being bookish is wrong. The fuck? Some people just want to be left alone. That was all in caps, so you got that loud. Yeah, not my jam. Did not get cozy and or cottagecore. Cottagecore vibes people keep talking about. A book still has to have a point, of which there was none. Lots of meandering, lots of mansplaining. Big no. This is so great.
This one just because it said mansplaining boob.
I appreciate the review though, and I totally get it. If that's how you feel and you are triggered or annoyed by that, then you're not going to be able to enjoy the book. And it does meander. It absolutely does meander. If you are not into it in the first few chapters, you're probably not going to latch on.
Right. Like that really is the vibe. And also there's no shame in DNFing a book. And also I just thought it was so funny.
Mansplaining boob. That's beautiful. Also, dead over cottagecore.
Right? Oh my God.
This is a term that I am not familiar with, but I'm now going to just randomly use in conversation to see how people react.
Okay, I'm going to read the 5-star review, which I pulled off of Storygraph by Fantasy Book Niffler, which is an absolutely wonderful username. It says, did the beautiful cover of this book prompt me to buy it? Yes, it did. And did I fall in love with the Fairy Loot edition and buy that edition too before even reading the book? Yes, I did. So here I was, hoping I would like the story as much as I like the aesthetics of the books, and thankfully I did! This light academia book is adventurous, magical, funny, and heartwarming. I love Emily. She is so relatable, and her banter with Wendell, who I found annoying at first but grew to love as well. There are quite a few great side characters, both magical and non-magical, of which Shadow is my absolute favorite. The story is set in the 1900s on a Scandinavian island during winter. This gives the book a very cozy winter wonderland feel, which I really enjoyed. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the series.
See, that's great.
That's hardcore, though. They bought 2 copies of this book before they read it.
Yeah, okay, so I sometimes get overly enthused and will buy more books than I should. And sometimes I will go and buy a series when I've only gone through the first quarter of the book. I'm getting better about that kind of thing because I'm often disappointed.
I was going to say the irony of me being the completionist and you're the one who buys the whole series before you're done.
Because I think I'm there. I'm like, oh, this has me. And I guess I forget that sometimes they lose me. But this person, yes, they put me to shame, and that makes me feel good. So thank you for that also.
Oh, it's so cute. I also totally, until I read this review, did not even realize it was set historically, that it's in the 1900s. And it is. I went back and reread a part, and it says something about 1902, and I was like, what?
I don't remember them mentioning it. I just took notes from the technology that was available in it. Well, and we get that a lot with fantasy, right? More often than not, we end up with like medieval Gothic
Yes.
times in
Yes.
most fantasy settings. But yeah, this one, I definitely felt those vibes right away. I don't remember them mentioning the exact date though.
It's an off comment. I think it's probably when she's referencing like a citation or something. But yeah, there's no cell phones. There's no way to contact the island other than this giant boat freighter. And it's so funny. I adore this book. I'm glad you ended up enjoying it. I'm sad to hear you didn't enjoy the audiobook as much. But I also
just feel like I
understand.
missed a lot. I did enjoy it. I just kept feeling like I was missing things, and I was definitely confusing some of the characters, and I wasn't keeping all of the fairy types straight and that kind of stuff. Like there were some I got like brownies, and I understood the courtly fae and that kind of stuff. But there was so much information you were given, and I like that. I like lots of information, and I like to try and figure all that stuff out. I like to keep my own little notes and keep everything straight in my brain. So I feel like I missed out on that, but that just means I'll probably read it another time, and I'll actually read the book. I'll just borrow yours.
Right. You'll just borrow my beautiful hardcover.
I think a really good time to read it, if you're going to read it in the winter, would probably be like December.
Yeah.
Because you're right at the beginning of the cold. Yeah, there's Christmassy vibes. You've got like the Frost King and all of that stuff. Yeah. I think this is a good December one.
I could see that. Like, they're just easy reads. I just don't think they're not huge long books. They're medium, I would say. I think they're 300 or 400. I think the last one's a little longer at 500 pages. But they're quick, easy reads. They're so cozy, little palate cleansers. So, you have anything else?
No, I think we covered it. Yay, this is our first buddy read.
Woo!
What are we buddy reading next?
So we will be back next time with our second deep dive episode into The Serpent and the Wings of Night. But for our next buddy read, we are going to buddy read Bloodguard by C.C. Robson. It's going to be a very different vibe.
We've decided that we'd like to keep the buddy reads maybe a little bit lighter, because sometimes our deep dives are going to be darker. Mm-hmm. But we are also going to eventually start putting these up for vote on social media. So we won't have any say in it anyway. And Bloodguard is just read it.
I was going to say, I'm very excited to hear how everyone else interacts with Bloodguard as well, because it became a fast favorite of ours, but also, holy shit, that shit is intense. And we will have both pre-read that book before. We've both already read it, so this will be both a reread.
And I will stalk C.C. Robson because we're basically best friends. I sent her a message and she responded. So that means we're best friends now. So, if you guys have any questions, field them to me and I'll ask her and see if she'll answer.
Don't worry.
For us on our little baby podcast. I'm going to continue to say these delusionary things constantly.
That's okay.
One day they will come true. I'm manifesting.
This is how we manifest. Okay. What are you currently reading, and where can people find you on the internet?
Okay. So I am reading Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klum.
I love that book.
It's your book. It is Morgan's book. And I saved it for after some dark times. And it's if you've read his stuff, it's the same thing. It feels whimsical. It's light, even with the dark stuff going on. In the meantime, y'all can find me at heatherbaxendale.com. My books are on there. If you like fantasy books, give them a try. They're probably right up your alley. And you can find all my socials on there. Follow them if at your own risk. and you can find all my podcasting and all the voice work and other stuff that I do. Morgan, what are you reading, and where can the folks find you on the interwebs?
We're getting a little loopy after a lot of recording. I'm about to pick up Shadows So Cruel, which is the second in the Court of Ravens series by Liv Zander. Shit is dark and wild, and that's some dark romance. And also I'm excited to see where the fuck we go from where book 1 ended, because damn, that was a cliffhanger. And then you can find me on the internet. I am at Derosher on Instagram and at moduro on Storygraph.
And that's been our show. Stay filthy. Thank you for listening to A Pot of Wings and Filth. The show is produced and magically edited by Heather Baxendale and Morgan DeRocher. The music used is Magistar by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. You can find our podcast on all streaming services and at wingsoffilth.podomatic.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at A Pot of Wings and Filth. Please give us a follow and a rating. Your support doesn't just help, it does everything. I wish to know the unknowable, to peel back the carpeting of the world and tumble into the stars. Emily.